YouTube faithful, what's going on? It is Captain Crush, and today we have NBA. We have one single solitary game, and we have a ton of MLB games that actually start at 5 p.m. Thank the Lord. So what I'm going to do on this magnificent Flex Friday is provide for you 2 NBA plays that I like, and then I'm going to do MLB for the rest of the time. Guys, I am telling you with everything in my being, please lock in on MLB, because the NBA for playoffs, specifically and especially round 1, has been an absolute dumpster fire, okay? Yesterday, I went 2 of 4 or 3 of 4 in every lineup. I mean, this was my story yesterday. I had Murray, Leonard, Jokic, and Zubac. Murray and Leonard cashed everything, full game lines, Goblin sweat-free. Joker sold his RA, sold his 10 assists, sold his points, sold everything, and Zubac sold as well. But here's another one that didn't get there. Jokic assists, but I had Jamal Murray, Jalen Brunson, Zubac. I had Zubac in like every lineup, and he played the least amount of minutes last night. Absolutely cinema. And then I'll show you this one. This was my Cade Cunningham under. I gave on this tube. I told you guys that was my favorite square of the board, and then I was all in on Joker's assists, man. I loved it. And then someone in my Discord said Tim Hardaway Jr. was going to go off. I took a chance. It didn't work out. Whatever. Yesterday I took a L. Today we bounce back. Literally the song, but figuratively too. So first with NBA, let's cover this and get the NBA out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and give you my thoughts. I'm going to make this short and sweet for NBA, guys. Literally, these are your options. Jalen Green at 15.5 points. He has been so hit or miss. I mean, this is ridiculous. 11, 8, 9, 38, 7. This is my advice. I would take more 15.5 points in one single solitary lineup, because this is just so low for his season averages. Obviously, he's got a case of the yips, performance anxiety, whatever you want to call it. Maybe he needs to call old Pfizer up and get some advice. I don't know what his deal is, but I would take that in one lineup just because it's so low, and I would do the same thing with this. Because these lines for both of these gents are so low, I would take them in one lineup. Say you throw like $5 on it. Like I'm going to throw $5 on it live. I'm logged in. 5 to win 15. That's it. Just in case these guys obliterate their lines because they are low. This is just a mathematics play. I want to make something from it. They can buy me a cup of Starbucks tomorrow with my $10 profit. You understand what I'm saying? If you want to nuke it. But both of those guys, their lines are too low. That's all it is for me. I don't care about the player, the environment, none of that. It's just a math play. So now that that's out of the way, we saw the Warriors get embarrassed. They pulled the plug midway through the third and never returned, even cutting it to 13. Absolutely cinema. So what happens now? Well, they go back to Golden State. They're at home. They're going to want to close this thing out, and I think Jimmy Butler is going to carry the boat. So for that reason, old Jimmy crack corn and Crush don't care? Absolutely. Do we go to his points? Do we go to his RA? What do we do? Well, Captain Crush says we go right back to the fly in the ointment last time that sold us, and we take the man's fantasy score. He let us down last game. I 100% agree with you. But now I'm going right back to the man. 41 fantasy points for Jimmy Butler. I mean, it's a narrative play. If he sells me again, he sells me again. But I'm going to have significant coin on Jimmy Butler bouncing back tonight. And I'm praying to the Almighty that he doesn't let me down. Now, if you want another side of that coin from the Rockets, you look no further than Sengun's fantasy at 43. You have to play it. It's a closeout situation. He's facing elimination. 50, 58, 33, 49. I mean, this is what it is, guys. We saw what he's capable of. If he plays big minutes and stays out of foul trouble, he's going over 43 fantasy points, okay? That is my 2 favorite. These are my 2 favorites. I'm just keeping it ABC. Last time Sengun was able to cash me under on his PRA, over on his fantasy, and the same thing with his rebounds, which I'm going to talk about next. My favorite 2 unders, because I gave you guys my favorite unders. I'm going to continue to do that. Favorite under for today is Sengun less 10.5 rebounds. I think that's a little bit too high with Jimmy Butler and everything else on the court. And then honestly, guys, it's literally the Steven Adams. I mean, he had his little fun in that one game. What was it? Game 3 or game 2? I can't remember. And I thought they were going to be using him more. But look, it's right back to the dumpster for him. I think less on 12.5 PRA. He's just not getting the minutes like he was. So I think they figured it out. And these are my 2 favorite lesses. And then honestly, I know I just took over Jalen Green 15.5 points. But that is just because of the mathematical play. But truth be told, I like under on his points runs again. I know I just put it in more, but I'm saying that is just a math play, him and Curry for the bounce back spot. But overall, I just continue to ride this train. It's been cashing. I got no reason to not take it under again. So that is what I would do. These are my three favorites for the unders ranked in order. And then honestly, I'm hearing that Curry has a hurt thumb. I'm not 100% sure on how real that is, but I would take less 19.5 field goals attempted. He's only gone over that one time in this series, and that, look, he only had 23, 19, 15, 13, 12. I mean, he's not even coming close to this. And with Jimmy Butler back, hopefully Curry just facilitates a little bit more. But if the thumb news is fake news and he just goes yard, well, then so be it. I'm going to put 10 to win 50 on this right here, right now. And then we're moving to MLB, okay? There it is. You don't have to take this if you don't want to. You don't have to take any of it. But I do think the Sengun one is fine. I also think his fantasy score is fine. So let's move on to MLB, okay? We're moving on to MLB. And the first person that I'm going to talk about is none other than Aaron Judge. I don't care. I am not getting off of him. Did they take off his 1.5 bases? Of course they did, because they know it's going to hit. PrizePicks removed it. Now you only get this because that is what PrizePicks does. It's absolutely cinema. Before I could even get the video out, they're already removing the square that I was going to talk about. But you know what? His 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs is fine with me. Do I prefer his bases? Yes, 1.5, but you can go there too. Now, with the Dodgers today, it's Dodger Roulette, our favorite game that we always play. They're playing the Braves. You can go with Yarny, 1.5 bases, his hitter fantasy score because he steals bases. You could take Freddie Freeman. What I do with matchups that I like, guys, I'm going to show you this live in color. Okay, all the Dodgers have been shelling Mookie, Tio, Freddie, and Ohtani. Okay, what I do with these four, I will find a pitcher anchor, or let's just say I want to anchor Judge, and I will just start mixing and matching 3 of the 4, because if you start adding 4, look, they dock your pay. Even though they're goblins, they still dock you for correlation. PrizePicks doesn't want you game stacking MLB hitters. They don't want you doing that because there is an advantage in our favor. They don't want you doing that, okay? So you got to get creative. So you could take Yarny, Freddie, and Tio, and then Judge, or you could take, like, just round robin them, guys. It's real simple. Like, you take these 2, like these 3 right here, you could do this. It's only 4x because Judge is a goblin. Then you could take out Freddie and throw in Mookie, okay, or Tio, etc., and keep it moving. That is what you want to do, because it's literally Dodger Roulette. They're all in a good spot. They're all in a good matchup. I'm not afraid of Grant Holmes, long hair Grant Holmes, okay? I think his hits allowed is going to hit. I think it's going to soar. And yeah, man, I want exposure to freaking the Dodgers hitters against Grant Holmes. I'm sorry, but I do. And we can go run Grant Holmes right now on my new model system, Crushed Bats, and let's go see what's good. Where are you at, Mr. Holmes? There you are. All right, your line is 5Ks, 2.5, it's a Gabi, 1.5, and 3.5. Let's run it 10,000 times. Oh, look, his hits allowed is going over 58% at 3.5. Actually, I thought it would be a lot more, but look, his Ks. So we'd want to actually be looking under his strikeouts, and then his walks at 1.5, 78% of the time. And if we go look at his range of outcomes from his last 5, you can see 3, 4, 2, 4, 4. That does check out. So his walks is a good play to take the over on, but it's probably not going to pay a lot. In fact, let's see what it pays with any random. 2.25x, actually. That's not bad. So there you go. Grant Holmes over 1.5 walks. Here's the thing with the walks, and again, my model system I use, that Crushed Bats, is still in beta. I'm still developing it. It's just me. Umpires have different strike zones. All of them do. So the plan is to quantify the umpires based on how they have strike zones, and I will do that. I am working on it. I don't want to give too much away, but taking the walk prop can be very, very volatile one way or the other. Over, under. A lot of hooks are involved with that. Like yesterday, Barrios hooked, Mize hooked. Mize went over his walks literally on his last bat, I'm pretty sure. And that's going to happen. But I will say this, the most profitable line in MLB right now, I believe, is the hits allowed prop. Wanna, if you're watching, it's your time to shine. I know that's your favorite prop, buddy. So the Dodgers do have a tendency to strike out a lot, so you could be looking at less 5 strikeouts for Grant Holmes. I personally would probably just take the walks. But yeah, but I do want to talk about my favorite pitcher today, which is none other than Tariq Skubal versus Bricks Angels. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, you don't really need a genius or a projection model to tell you about Tariq Skubal, do you? more 5.5 strikeouts. I think he's getting 6 right on the nose. I will show you my standard projection model for Tarik Skubal. You can see I have him getting 7 with 1.4 walks, 4.8 hits allowed, and 6 innings pitched. Robbie Ray, 7 Ks, and Framber Valdez, 6 Ks, and Hunter Green. Those are my top 4. And if you want access to this, make sure you're in the Discord. This is posted every day for you guys. That's the gold package in the Discord to get that. But you can see I have him projected for 7 and his true line is 7.5. So you could be like, Cap, why not take 6.5? Well, you could take 6.5, but check out the payouts. It's literally only 0.25x more. So I'd rather just be conservative and know that I can bet big on the 5.5 and feel good about it. I'm getting a big differential. It'll pay me just my 2x, but I am fine with that with any random prop. And I also think you could dabble with his hits allowed, but I don't really trust the Angels enough to do that right now. So Tarik Skubal is going in there. And then next, we got none other than Ryan Pepiot for the Tampa Bay Rays facing the New York Yankees. And like I said, I like Aaron Judge, so obviously, naturally, I'm going to like Ryan Pepiot to get shelled. I wish they had his line at 4.5 hits allowed. They don't, because PrizePicks is PrizePicks. They do have it on chalkboard, which I might put it in post-edit here. You can see I did take it over on chalkboard at 4.5, but at 3.5 here, you can still take it, but you can see it's super juiced. I also like his earned runs at 2.5. So let's go ahead and put Ryan Pepiot through crushed bats and see what we can get. We will run it 10,000 times, and you will see here that his strikeouts, no clear value, avoid. Earned runs, no clear value, avoid. Hits allowed, take more. Walks, take more. But his hits allowed, he's going over 3.5 hits allowed almost 80% of the time. Walks, 63% of the time. He's going over 2.5 earned runs 53% of the time, so it's still in our favor. Okay, projected for 2.8. But here's the thing. Why would we take that goblin when we could take this one that's going over 80% of the time, 79% of the time in the simulations? Let's just call it 80. We wouldn't want to do that, right? Well, you could argue, well, Cap, the payout. Well, yes, if we pair with any random prop, it's almost a full payout. That is why it's only 53%, because even though this shows a goblin, it's not a true goblin, because look at the payout, 2.75x. Now, if you switch it up to his hits allowed, that is a true goblin, 2 points, which is why it's 80% to hit. These low-end goblins are usually 80% to hit. That is the hit rate on them, and even though they hit 80% of the time, PrizePicks advantages, they still chalk 20% of the time, and they're still going to make that money 20% of the time. So that is why they offer them, because they're hoping that even if you take this, whatever you pair it with chalks. That is their whole game plan. But this right here, these are my favorite 2 for the day. I'm thinking something like this, but this only pays 3.6x right now. So I might leave Pepiot off this particular lineup and put something else in, but I really, really do like this right here. This pays 3.6x. My goodness, if it paid 5x, oh, I would be nuking right here live. If we added in Tatis, who I also like today, it is 5.4x. Not quite enough to push the needle for me. It is mostly goblins, but keep in mind, MLB goblins are a little bit different, but I do like these guys a lot. And then I wanted to talk about Joe Ryan. Now, Boston strikes out. I believe they're number 2 or 3, the top 5 for sure in strikeouts right now. Joe Ryan, I have him projected for roughly 6 strikeouts. I think he's going to land right on 6, so taking the 5.5 goblin is where all of our equity lies. If you were to take out Jimmy Butler and just run these 4, you would get 3x. If you take out Pepiot, you get 2.4x. If you were to just take these 2 pitchers, you would get 1.6x. So maybe the move might look something like this. I'm not sure, because I'm going to have a little bit more time. In fact, I do like this right here. Judge's fantasy, Ohtani's fantasy, Joe Ryan and Skubal, that does pay 5.5x. I could see this being the winner. And then if you threw in Jimmy Butler's fantasy score and Pepiot's hits allowed, you could get a 6-man that would pay 7x or powered 12.5x. I don't think there's enough equity to power this here. Like 12.5x for a 6-man power, I don't really think that's optimal. I think he's getting those hits allowed, but is it worth the extra 2.5x? I mean, it's just he could get injured, he could get pulled early. It's just adding an extra leg of variance. For what reason? And then I do like Judge's 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, and Ohtani's 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs better. Judge is my staple hitter. I'm going down with the ship. Paul Goldschmidt, you can also take him. And then it's just Dodger roulette. It doesn't have to be Ohtani. It could be Tio at 1.5. This dude has been a wagon. Do not think that he is not a wagon. 5, 10, 4, 3, 6. He has been dealing and hitting, and I don't think it's going to stop now. If you were to take these 5, you'd get 9.5x, okay? In fact, I'll put it in right here because that one is actually crispy. 9.5x, 10 to win 100 basically. There it is right there. You can mix around Judge's Goblin or whatever, but your 2 staples for pitchers today, Scooble and Joe Ryan, 5.5, 5.5. Don't get greedy. It's a lot easier for them to get 6 than both of them to get 7 and 8. Remember that. I'm not saying they can't get 8, but it's a lot more likely that they get 6 than 8. And then I want to take a look at Hunter Green. Okay, you can see he's in an elite spot, in my opinion. You can see his range of outcomes, 9, 4, 8, 7, 8. Everybody gets Ks versus the Rockies, though. So how is he going to do versus the Nats? Well, 5.5 pitcher strikeouts, 6.5, tons of range of outcomes for this gent. I know his 7 Ks is being juiced under. His hits allowed and walks allowed are normal props. Let's go ahead and run it through the crushed bats and see what we got. Okay, keep in mind his earned run is a goblin, so we will run it 10,000 times. The lines are set. And here we go. So out of 10,000 times where we take all the data, he's exceeding 5.5 strikeouts almost 70% of the time with a 69% of the time. He's projected getting 7, okay? 7 on the nose. He's getting 1.8 earned runs. Hits allowed 4.2, walks 1.4, and he's pitching roughly 18 pitching outs, so 6 innings. So as you can see, there's no clear value on these 3, so we wouldn't even want to go there. The only thing we'd be looking at is the 5.5K line, which is a goblin, but they do have one at 6.5. He does project for 7. Let's see what the payout difference is. Okay, so 2.5x if you take him to get 7 versus just 2x. So, I mean, I don't know. The thing is with Hunter Green, I'm pretty sure he got pulled against Baltimore because of forearm soreness a couple weeks ago or a couple games ago, and that kind of threw me off. But I do think at 5.5 is fine. So these would be my top 3 strikeout pitchers for today, right here. And I know the Goblins don't pay a lot. That's why you have to get creative. If you want, oh, well, I want to take the full line, you're never going to win, dude. There's just no value in the 7.5 Ks for Scooble, over or under. Same thing with all these guys. Yes, they can get there, but that's hitting the top of their range. So if you did all 3 of these, it would only give you 2x. That's how heavily juiced they are, but it's much, much more likely they each get 6 strikeouts than they do get 7 or 8, guys. Be realistic, and if you're new to MLB, you will learn this. Now, once May is complete and we have more data and stuff to go on, that simulator, that Crushed Bats tool is going to be absolutely surgical. It's already a good tool as is. We've been using it every single day, so make sure if you want access to it, it's in beta right now. You go to CaptainCrush.net, sign up for the gold package. It's right here. This will get you access to my live streams, which are Monday through Friday at 5:30 Central. Usually there won't be one today, but they're usually Monday through Friday. Starting next week, they'll be back Monday through Friday, 5:30. You get my daily prop list, my slips, access to the chat. You're going to get access to that tool, and you will be grandfathered in at this rate. So you can see, you click the gold package. It's 68 cents a day. It'll take you here. And then I do have a promo code for new members. It is promo code MLB, all caps. It'll get you your first month for only $15. After that, it's $24.99, but you will be locked in, grandfathered into this price, because once my tool is live, I will be raising the prices, so get in now so you are not affected. Now, like I'm saying, the more data that comes in, the more we'll be able to cook. We have the right tools, we have things happening, and demons will now be coming into play for MLB once May is over with. Starting in June is when I start to cook the demon slips, and anyone that was in the cord last season knows those are very, very profitable. You only need to hit 1 or 2 or 3 of those big ones a season and you are set. Last season I hit like 6 or 7 full 6-man 100x plus demon slips, and I'm not kidding you, and I plan on doing it again today. Just need more data, just need to see what else is going on. But of course, I will be breaking it down for the YouTube faithful all season long. Now, I want to close with Mitch Keller because I was on his earned runs at 2.5. It looks like they gobified it and made it 1.5. Unfortunately, I do think the Padres shell him. If you want to go there at 1.5, you can. And then as far as Dylan Cease goes, man, Dylan Cease has had a fall from grace. I don't know what's up with him. I don't know what happened to him, but I'm not going anywhere near him until I see Dylan Cease of old. I don't want to take under because I know once I do, he'll start shelling. But you know what? Let's run him through crushed bats and then we'll get out of here. Short and sweet video today. So he's scheduled for 6 because why? Because it's the Pirates. Okay, the Pirates are like top 5 in strikeouts, and Dylan Cease does have a good arm. He's probably going to land right at 6, so there's no value over or under, but let's see what he's at here. 4.5 hits allowed, 1.5 walks, and 1.5 earned runs. And don't forget, anomalies happen. Look at Paul Skeens the other day. He got shelled, right? It happens. All right, run it. He's projected. Look at this. It's literally right what his line is. 5.99 is 6, guys. Earned runs 2.8, hits allowed 5.24, walks 1.9, 15 pitching outs. Okay, so strikeouts, 6 strikeouts, 38% of the time. There's no value there. We would be actually looking at the under, but he's probably just going to push. Earned runs, 76% of the time he's going over 1.5. Hits allowed, 60% of the time. Walks, 57% of the time. So you can see we'd take less, more. You can only take 1. Let's go back and see what he has. Okay, this was a gobby, this was a gobby, and this isn't a gobby. So 4.5 hits allowed, folks. 59% of the time it's not a gobby. So this would be the best line. Earned runs, actually under 6Ks would probably, no, this is the best line. Earned runs 76% of the time, okay? Then the hits allowed, then the walks. However, the hits allowed isn't a goblin. So you know what? I'm going to take it, fam. 4.5 hits allowed for Dylan Cease. Let's go. I honestly don't think the Pirates have it in them to get 5 hits today. I'm a Pirates fan if you didn't know. But you know what? We'll see. 10 to win 30. Let's go. 3x. I think you could take Joe Ryan out of the mix. In fact, that's probably more optimal because you're going to get 2x. This is more of like a double up lineup you could take. Okay, right there. And I'm going to end on that note, guys. Don't forget, the promo code is MLB for CaptainCrush.net Gold Package, promo code MLB. Sign up with any of my partners. The link's in the description. You get 30 days of my Discord for free. I'm giving you a big old salute. Good luck in all your contests on Flex Friday. And as always, my brothers and sisters in Christ, let's crush.